Greetings and welcome to Ghost Chat and Other Paranormal Things. I'm your host, Electric Elisa,
I'm your other host, Jody.
and today we have James and Annette from the Haunted Globe, Arizona, here with us today.
Howdy, howdy.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
So tell me a little bit about what you do. I mean, I know, but our listeners don't.
Right, right. So what we do is we are a paranormal investigating company, kind of a company. We're DBA basically at this point because we weren't sure where it was going to go. And we just go around and we investigate possible haunted locations. We do ghost tours. We do all kinds of ghost stories, a lot of gear review and things like that. Some of the tools that we use for paranormal investigating.
Yeah, a lot of paranormal investigations.
Yeah, we're constantly busy up here in Globe with the haunted jail tours and everything like that. So we spend most of our weekends at the jail. As funny as that sounds.
Yeah, definitely. We spend some time with private investigations in homes. Some will ask us to do investigations at their businesses. There's a lot of, like James said, there's a lot of haunted places here in Arizona, and we'd like to get to a lot of them, a lot more actually. And in the foreseeable future, we want to definitely do some traveling, do some other haunted places and other places, you know, Gettysburg and the Sally House and things like that. We haven't yet got to explore.
Yeah. I mean, excuse me, there are a lot of places I have learned about just across the U.S.
Absolutely. Absolutely, there is. There's a lot more than people actually know about. Some things we just find out for ourselves, and we're just looking through some information, and we're like, wow, we need to go investigate that.
Yeah. What do you think your most haunted location is in Globe?
So we actually have two places that are
Okay.
constantly hopping with paranormal activity. There's a place called Molina Inc., and it is a tattoo shop that is actually cat a corner from the Gila County Jail, the 1910 jail.
Oh.
And yeah, there's that whole
Been
downtown.
here since 1910.
That whole
Oh,
downtown
wow.
area is like one gigantic vortex. It is like just about every place that we to has been pretty well hopping with paranormal activity. But that would be a toss up between Molina Inc. and again the 1910 jail.
And then there's also
Miami area.
there's another building in town, the old Elks. It is very, very paranormal. It has a lot of paranormal energy in it as well. And we do a lot of investigations there. Um, if you look it up on Google, it is one of the tallest 3-story buildings in the world and still in existence.
Oh,
Buildings here
wow.
were built
That's
in
cool.
1910 and 1918. Some of them clear back as the 1800s.
Wow.
So a lot of history here in our area.
Yeah, tons of history. That's one thing that I like to do is to go over the historical aspect of the place and then, travel into paranormal because, sometimes people are into the paranormal. Some people are like, oh, this was really cool, but I really like the history aspect of it. So that's why I love the paranormal because I love history and paranormal. It just ties into it. Going down to Tombstone.
Yeah.
You got the historical aspect and then you got the paranormal aspect and they run like simultaneously together. It's really cool.
And
Yeah,
speaking of
absolutely.
that, oh, I'm sorry. Speaking of that, we actually have a really old cemetery up on the hill that is the newer cemetery. And there's a lot of people that are famous for the Wild West here. We were we are actually the Wild West. Believe it, we have people that go back clear as Clanton gang. We have Phineas Clanton. He is buried in our cemetery. He's Ike Clanton's brother. We have Pete Spence, and James can elaborate a little bit on Pete Spence. He did little bit of a history on him.
So Pete Spence was allegedly the guy who had shot Morgan Earp in the pool hall. And he was also the guy who allegedly shot Virgil Earp in the arm. None of it was proven.
Wow.
Yeah, none of it was proven. Because you know how they did investigations back in the 1800s. It was more like, well, you can't have a murder without a witness. So it's like, okay, well, did you do it? Nope. Okay, you're free to go. And so his best friends, and he is actually buried in an grave not too many people know about, but he is in an unmarked grave right next to Phineas Clanton. And kind of interesting history aspect. We ran some EVPs on it, box session on there. Didn't pick up too much. We definitely going back to it again sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometime here in the near future.
Yeah, definitely. We also have ties back to Lede. Have you guys ever heard of the Grahams and the Tewksbury's and the feud they had out here in Arizona? Are you guys familiar with it?
I don't know, but I've bought some books recently about Arizona, about like hauntings and history stuff.
That definitely should be in there.
Yeah, we investigated the Tewksbury's because they're buried in our local cemetery, and we did some investigations with them, and quite a bit of paranormal stuff came through just at their gravesite. They had actually stayed separate times on one of my grandfather's plantations, who founded Tonto Basin, which is one of our areas out of our lake in Roosevelt. And so I was very interested in finding out to see if there was going to be something come through. And sure enough, there was. And so that was pretty interesting, given the fact that it leads back to my history and my family.
Oh, that's kind of cool to have that connection.
Yeah, it was my 5-time great grandfather. He actually them stay at separate times, and even though they were feuding, he refused to take one side or the other. He stayed completely neutral. He says, you'll go ahead or water your horses, stay the night, do what you got to do. But he says, just let you know this, I'm staying neutral to the whole thing. It was very interesting to find out that part of my history.
Yeah.
So we have some things come through.
What is your favorite equipment to use?
My personal favorite equipment to use is the REM pod and the EM meter, the K2 meter. Okay. Those two are that's my go-to. With Annette, she likes to use the dowsing rods.
Rod.
Yep.
Spirit box. The Estes method is another one of my favorite things to use in a paranormal investigation. EMF and the K2 meter, which is the EMF as well.
Okay. Yeah, and you guys, didn't you recently do something with the Estes method in one of your investigations?
We actually do the Estes method about every night.
Yeah. I just saw one though recently, a post.
Yeah. So we my thing is to bring people together. That's always been like a thing of mine. I don't know why, it just naturally, I just never would have thought in a million years that it would be bringing spirits to people. So that's kind of my view. Why not? I'll take it.
And we like to help people and give them some closure. Hopefully, if we have a spirit that comes through on the Estes method. If you're not familiar with the Estes method, James can go into detail a little bit more and elaborate on that, or I can myself. It's
Yeah,
it's
actually,
not
I kind of have a vague understanding of it, but I think having a clearer one would be better.
Sure,
absolutely.
absolutely. So basically, what you do is you're going to put on a blindfold. So immediately you're eliminating your vision.
Mhm.
Then you're
Hmm.
going to put on your noise canceling earphones. You're eliminating your hearing. So now the rest of your senses are hyped up to be able to pick up and sense other things too. So, such as
Okay.
listening to feeling, you're going to be feeling presence, you're going to be feeling uh, thoughts of happiness, thoughts of dread, thoughts of sadness. All your senses are just hyped up from the outside world. It's like
Mhm.
literally sticking your head in the spirit world.
Yeah, whenever I'm hooked up to the Estes method, like he said, you are blindfolded and you have the noise canceling earphones, which are connected to the spirit box, and you hear nothing what's going on around you, only what you hear through the spirit box. And if something chooses to come through and say something, that's what I repeat. um like he said, your senses are heightened because you have no sense of sight or sound, so I'm completely vulnerable to the feelings and the voices of whatever spirits come through.
Mhm.
So I, on the other
Okay.
hand,
Yeah.
here, I'll ask a question like, "Hey, is there any spirits I want to come through that feel like they need to communicate? Please step forward." And pretty much we just keep going until the questions start lining up. Like, okay, what's your name? And sometimes they'll give a name, sometimes they won't. Okay, who are you trying to contact? Like we had a spirit that came in that just literally wanted to just say hi. Like it was weird. It was cool, but it was weird.
Yeah, he's a fellow miner. Yep.
And she has no idea what I'm saying because she's got the noise canceling earphones on, and
Yeah.
he said a lot of the questions they start lining up. That's when you're like, okay, we've got something here.
Yeah, definitely have a connection when that happens.
Yeah. I've never actually tried that one. Of course, I don't even know if I have noise canceling headphones. Sometimes I would like that when my
Yeah,
dogs are barking.
I
Yeah,
bet.
definitely.
Um,
Go ahead.
so have you ever had any like scary things happen when you've been doing investigations?
um, not really scary. Nothing that really scares me. Um, I mean I've been touched. My daughter was poked real hard in the ribs yesterday. Really not. I
Hmm.
we'll get negative spirits every now and then, but very very if ever we've ever encountered any kind of anything demonic.
That's good.
And we're not we're not so we're not demonologists. If anything like that were to happen, we're okay. We're going to stop this
Yeah.
and just an exit here because that is yeah.
There was one time our daughter she felt like it was a pinch, and she did have a mark.
Hmm.
I have been touched, have been my hair played with, nothing super serious. We've had things in the background fall off the
Okay.
desk. It's just it's not anything that was super scary. So thank goodness to this point, and I'm hoping that it stays that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But do you have any certain scary experiences that you've had in the past in your life that you would like to speak with or talk about?
Um, you want to go, Jody?
Something scary. I could barely hear. Something scary that happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, the only thing I can think of is I've seen shadow people before,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm alone in the house, and I see something out of the corner of my eye that looked like a shadow that kind of ducked, and that scared the pants off me. I wasn't sure if it was like a demon or some kind of some kind of other entity or something like that. But I remember the shadow people really kind of freaked me out a little bit because they're just black. They're just black figures.
But
And when I
not
turn
really
and look,
defined. Yeah.
they're not defined. And when I turn and look, they're gone. They look like they ducked or something when I looked over. So that freaked me out a little bit. That made me turn the lights on.
Sometimes we
Yeah, that
call
would do
those
it.
watchers. Would you consider that a watcher?
Yeah, I mean, I would consider that as a watcher. It's
Or it could be a one of their guiding spirits.
yeah, I
Oh,
never
okay.
did understand what made the difference between a white apparition versus a dark shadow apparition. I've taken pictures of both, and
Uh-huh.
in my experience, I could be way wrong. To me, they're the same. I think it's just a matter of energy that creates the white versus the black apparition color. I
Yeah.
honestly don't
Huh.
know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I did see a white one time and it was in our backyard. And it was like a split second. And I don't even know what it was because I was like, what was that? It was,
Yeah. Ooh, well.
Yeah, definitely something that takes you off guard and you're just like, that was not normal. It's like,
Mhm.
anybody see that besides me?
Of course not. No. No one's
That's
ever
how that
there.
works. That's how that works. When you
Yeah.
don't have your camera on or you don't have anything on, that's how
No.
that works.
Right. Exactly. It happens
Yeah,
too
that
fast sometimes.
Oh, sorry.
and that I mean that was Florida. I mean, Florida had
Oh,
a lot
wow.
of
In
weird
Florida.
things. Florida had a
You got
lot
a
of
lot of
weird
weird
stuff.
things. Yeah, they do. That's almost voodoo land.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of stories about Florida for sure.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
About,
very interesting.
isn't it the Tiki Taki River or something like that? It has a lot of paranormal things happening around there. It leads into the ocean.
Uh Maybe I'm not sure where that even is.
Not to be TikTok, just they call it the Tiki Taki or something like that. I can't remember the
Uh-huh.
exact name of it, but um, how about you, babe? Do you have any experiences that you would like to speak of?
So, uh, yeah, this may this may be a little different, but the more and more I think about it, the more and more I realize it probably was the person messing with things. So I had uh, my mother was into stuff, but her energy was real negative,
Oh.
and so
Mhm.
she was playing with the pendulum game. And to this day, I will not touch the pendulum game nor the Ouija board. Again, because um, the person using it was just a solely negative energy person.
Hmm.
It unleashed something in our house that was definitely, I mean, 100% definitely demonic. It mainly attacked her, and it mainly attacked my little brother. It
Mm.
didn't mess with me at all. It followed my dad to work because my dad would be at work and he'd smell like this roast smell.
Not
Mm.
me.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, like in a it's like, why am I smelling roast beef? So he's pulling over, make sure everything's good on his car going to work, and everything was fine. Nothing ever happened, but he kept smelling this beef smell.
Was it like a putrid?
No, it wasn't. He said it was. He said it was like a roast beef smell, like somebody's cooking roast beef.
Huh. That's weird.
It
Hmm.
was weird smell. Anyways, it picked up my brother and threw him across the wall.
Oh wow.
I
Oh, geez.
I was so it's funny. When the movie Paranormal Activity came out, the first one
Mm-hmm.
that hit home like legit. I was like re-traumatized about everything that happened, and why I'm a firm believer of negative entities and demonic forces is they are out there. And I really think, because I know a bunch of people that play with the pendulum game, nothing ever happened. So I'm starting to think maybe it was because my mother was just like this incredibly negative person that wanted to use it as a negative, doing negative stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean,
that was my experience.
there's a lot of stories about negative energy attaching to people who are not well mentally.
Mhm.
Really,
And that could have been a factor too. That's true.
that
I
you
mean,
may be
yeah.
more right than you know. Because she ended up, my parents were members of the Salvation Army, and they wanted to be captains. You know, they wanted to be ministers, and everything was all well and dandy until my mom took her psych exam, failed it miserably. So
That's not a good thing.
yeah,
No.
yeah,
Definitely not
skip
good.
me for some reason or others, and I got blessed with other things.
Me myself, I haven't had like any scary ones. The only time that I was really scared was when I was about 6 or 7 years old, and we were in the cemetery of all places. We were looking at some of our family members' grave sites to check on them and decorate them. And this is when I was a child, like I said, about 6 or 7. Um, and I was walking along the road, and there was this one certain gravesite that stood out to me. And I find out now that they were trying to communicate with me or not, but there was a apparition floating above the gravesite. And, at 6 or 7, that's going to dance off you.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
did. And I just kind of stood there speechless and unable to move because I was just, it scared me. And so I just turned around, even though it was still there, I turned around and just the other way because, in a really fast paced motion.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I never told anyone about it, not even my parents. And then I finally told my husband a while back, and he's like, wow, that's crazy. And I said, yeah, that's the first time I've ever spoken about it to anyone. Another time is in the same cemetery. James, he likes to do Civil War reenactment. And when he was doing the ghost tour that we do here every year in our town, he was playing a Civil War soldier for the Civil War soldiers who are buried up here in the Confederate cemetery.
We have a lot.
And as he was going down, my daughter was with us, with me, and he had just dropped him off for the tour. And we were going down the road towards the cemetery where the Confederate soldiers are at. And as we had just passed by that, I looked over to my left, and I saw a figure. It was a full body figure dressed in Civil War clothing. And I was like, oh, look, there goes one of the people that's going to be.
Yeah, she literally thought somebody else was portraying a Civil War veteran also.
Yeah, and
I was like,
it was that
wait, what?
clear. And
Yeah.
I was like, there goes another.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because it was walking, and as it walked, it disappeared. And I was like, well, okay.
People
I'm
don't usually do that.
Yeah, because I'm up on top of the cemetery, and she texts me. She says, "Is there anybody that's also doing Civil War stuff?" And I was like, "I don't think so." I was like, "I don't know." The lady who's in charge of this thing is usually all over the place. So I said it's quite possible. And then after everything's said and done, there's nobody there that's dressed up anywhere near Civil War stuff. Everybody's Wild West and things like that. And like, okay, interesting.
That was an interesting experience. And I looked at my daughter and I said,
Could not
did
be
you see
explained.
that? And she's like, girl, I'm going to quit bringing you up to the cemetery because every time we come here, you see an apparition.
You're just open to it, I think is what it is.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just definitely strange because I was like, well, I'm not gonna say it was. I'm not gonna say it wasn't because I'm the type of person where I like to try to debunk everything.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You can only debunk so much before you just say, you know what, it's definitely something that cannot be explained. It's if it explained in a normal setting, then that's the
Paranormal.
paranormal. That's
Yep.
that's the definition of paranormal.
And I've
Yeah.
tried
Yeah.
to recreate it several times and tried to see it several times. And it was just the one time that I've seen it so far. And he was walking up towards the cemetery where the Confederate soldiers are buried.
Wow. I guess I had something it made me think of this because I was just talking to a friend of mine um, yesterday, and she was asking for how to get. She needed a link to all of our episodes because she wanted to start listening to them, and uh, she listened to like the brief one that I like very first episode where it was like 5 minutes, um, and it was just I was talking about an experience I had when I was really little, um, and I had I say something try to come into my room that looked like my mom, and it was in the middle of the night. It was like dark, um, but just like I had a nightlight, and I thought it was weird. And she was just beckoning to me to come out into the hall, and I didn't want to because that was weird because she wasn't speaking. And she was wearing my mom's clothes from the night before, and I'm like, my mom would have been in bed by then. And
Hmm.
um they wouldn't I had tried to get her to come in to the room because if my mom's checking on me, she would have come into the room probably. um and usually, I mean, that's but uh they wouldn't. And I remember looking and looking and looking at them and thinking that they're not quite the same height, seemed a little taller than my mom. And at that time, you know, I'm a kid, so uh and then they just turned around and disappeared into the dark hallway. And a friend of mine had made a comment that it sounded like a mimic,
Mm.
which I
Yeah,
don't really
definitely
know that much about.
sound like a
That could be that very well could be. Um, yeah, so mimics in my experience are somewhat mischievous, if not intentionally trying to get somebody hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'd be happy to tell you a story that happened to me with a
Yeah.
mimic. So I used to work at some of the copper mines around here, and I was sitting in the control room. My boss comes in and he says, "Hey, I need you to go down in the pit. That was where we had a bunch of like pipes and stuff like that, and take a reading down there real quick. See what one of the big blowers is doing." All right, cool. So I get down there and from his office you could see everything that's going on where I'm at, and but the thing is he came into the control room and was like, "Hey, I need you to go take a look at this." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I go down this, and so all of a sudden my radio just starts lighting up. It's like, James, Powerhouse, James. Yeah, go ahead. What are you doing down there? You told me to go down there and take a reading. Don't go down there. There's a major gas leak down there. It's a SO2. It was just enough to take the oxygen. And I was like, did that just happen? He's like, no, it's been that way for about 3 hours now. And I'm like, you literally just told me, and I'd have this conversation over the radio. And I was like, you literally just came into the control room. He was like, I'm not even in the control room. I'm in my office. I'm like, it would take about 10, 15 minutes to get down there. from the control room to the office.
Oh, wow.
And to go all the way around everything. I was like, what the heck? And so my partner comes down and he says, what happened? And I said, hey, the boss sent me down there to go make that reading. Well, why would he do that? I was like, I don't know. He says, I need to talk to you. And I was like, okay, what's up? And he's like, I think this place is pretty well, has got some activity going on here. And I'm like, activity? What do you mean? Like activity? Like what? That's what he explained to me. He was like, yeah, there's a thing here that likes to play jokes on people. Oh, a thing, huh? I was like, you mean like a ghost? He was like, oh, no, we don't say that here. Okay, so if I'd have gone down to that pit any further, I would have gotten really, really hurt really bad. So
wow.
things like that. So
That's scary.
yeah, it's pretty freaky.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, it is
You can tell me
scary.
about that.
No, I kept that one scared the bejesus out of me.
So you were down, and if you had gone down any further, you probably wouldn't have come back up. In other words,
I'd have been probably there. This is 20 years ago.
wow, that's
Yikes.
scary. No wonder he didn't tell his own wife about that story.
There's a lot of things out of minds, honey.
Ooh,
Oh. Yeah, that's
Experience with what I was a mimic.
Mm-hmm. Is their intention or mimics? Is it thought that they are just trying? Are they trying to harm people?
I think it's kind of I think it's more like you know, mine was out to think they just like to play jokes. But there are some that to me anyway, like I said, my experience, it was gonna really hurt me. So
yeah, that didn't sound like a
Mhm.
joke.
I'm gonna say they're out to harm people.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yes,
Yeah.
I think so. But that sounded like it was definitely out to harm you, or even a worst case scenario, which would not have been good.
Yeah. So
Mm-mm.
the rule it is, it was trying to hurt me. Why I don't
Yeah.
know, but it was.
In my situation, I actually did eventually go to my mom and ask her, and she was like all asleep and everything. And I asked her if she came and tried to come into my room and wake me up, and she's like, no.
Wow.
Weird.
Yeah, I think chances are when things like that happen, I really think that mimics are really trying to really harm people because I can remember hearing stories from veterans that would talk somewhat similar to that. Hey, my sergeant came into the camp and you know we went on for a walk this way and you know there was an ambush waiting for us right there and it just all kinds of weird stuff. So I really
Mhm.
mimics are really out to harm people.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Where they come from, I don't know. Are they paranormal? I mean, obviously they're paranormal. Are they spirit? No idea. Are they physical? It's possible.
Yeah. And they, I mean, it's similar to like shapeshifters.
Mm-hmm.
That's what came to mind whenever you guys were speaking about that also. Our
Yeah.
daughter, she's super scared. She won't say the name of them, which is, I'll just say SW. She calls them flesh pedestrians. She won't say the other word.
Skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why I say
Mhm.
she says SW. She says I won't say the word. She says I'll say flesh pedestrians, and she's really scared of those things. She said that it just creeps her out so badly that she doesn't even want the name mentioned because she said then they can come visit you. And I was like, well, let's just not talk about them then.
That's a
Yeah,
belief
definitely.
out here that skinwalkers are real, and in order to become a skinwalker, you have to do something really, really unthinkable, and it has to be blessed by a dark priest. So it's not like something that you become according to their beliefs. It's not like
Mhm.
something that just randomly happens. Like you have to do these certain things, and you have to get
Yeah.
blessed by a certain type of medicine man or priest in order to become a skinwalker. But yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
I do believe
I've read
those things.
about that.
Yeah, those things are real. I do believe that they are real.
Yeah. I have another coworker that said her neighbor saw one on top of her garage roof. I don't know. That's all.
Yikes.
That was it to the story, though. I'm
A little
like,
freaky.
okay,
That's
yeah,
scary, because you can just jump
That's
down
scary
it.
enough.
Oh
right.
my!
I'm like, hopefully they didn't really see that. Maybe I don't know.
Have you ever
Yikes.
seen one?
I've never seen one.
I've never. I don't think I've ever seen
I
one,
don't
but
think I've
once
seen
in a
one.
while
I don't think.
No,
I'll walk
no.
out into the property here. We have a huge piece of property, and I'll walk outside, and I'm like, if I feel that right, I will turn around and go back in the house. But
Yeah.
sometimes I go outside to like walk our dog or something, and it feels like there's something watching me.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me feel very uneasy.
It could
Yes.
even be a mountain lion.
That's true.
We have
And
those.
Don't
that's
take any
true because
chances.
we do live out kind of sort of in the boonies.
Yeah,
So
we have those out here.
Yeah. Or a
We have
bear.
coyotes. We have bear. We have
Bob,
javelina. We
bobcat.
have bobcats. We have all kinds of predators. So whenever I feel like something's being watched, I'm immediately like, okay, it could be a mixture of things. Because I
Yeah.
have found bobcat out. I have found mountain lions out here. I have found
We've seen coyote
we
go
hear
across
coyotes
the driveway.
in our yard somewhere.
Yeah, they go.
too.
No, I'm
Mhm.
sure.
My daughter and
Yeah,
we were coming
coyotes
up
are
the driveway,
everywhere.
and they just went right in broad daylight, just went right across the driveway, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's not a welcoming sight.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
yeah,
not.
whenever I feel like I'm being watched, it feels like something more sinister than a wild
Mhm.
animal. And if it is a wild animal, I'm just looking at me like I'm lunch.
Yeah. No, I used to get that a
So,
lot in Florida in that house.
Oh, I'll bet.
Especially the garage for some reason.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Could be some kind of physical object that something was attached to.
I don't know. That house was weird the day we moved in. I mean, it was we heard a growl. It's like that's
Oh.
so
Yikes.
weird.
Yeah,
oh wow,
yeah.
that's not a
Like, I don't
not a
think we should
welcome
move.
home kind of sound.
No. It's so funny because there was another house we had looked at before we got that one, and I remember I was looking at, oh no, it has all these things that need to be fixed. It was a weird layout too, but then I dreamt about it.
Oh,
And
weird.
it was
Okay.
such a weird dream, and it wasn't a good dream either necessarily. It was so weird. So I was
Wow.
kind of glad we didn't get that one. So I thought the one we
Yeah.
were getting looked like innocent, but yeah,
A nice
wasn't.
innocent house.
It was not.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, dreams
Well
are
built, though.
definitely. I'll bet. I mean, they're not flimsy houses over there in Florida.
No.
Seems
No.
built ones are usually the ones that will have the most activity. Well,
So that explains this one, because my husband has found a lot of flaws in the construction, which is to be said about most of the houses
Oh,
around
wow.
here. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, really?
Mm.
it's like another thing you have to fix, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to get started on that one, but yeah.
Yeah, right. And then something I've heard a lot about, and especially since, I mean, it's easy to get on Route 66, which I hear
Okay.
is a common location for the black-eyed children. I don't know what to think of that, because I've only heard like tidbits here and there and some stories, and I don't know like much about them.
I've heard a lot of, not really a lot, but I've heard a few stories at a place called Two Guns, Arizona, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's on the Route 66. Boy, it's an old ghost. But I believe that, trying to remember, I want to say that some people I knew had seen something similar to uh, the black-eyed children. And I know for sure we've seen something similar to that out here. Um, there have been reports of people on back roads out here, because that's all we have is back roads out here,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them lead to absolutely nowhere. Some of them lead to wherever, and there'd been reports of I mean, you could probably call them black-eyed children, or you could say people with black robes.
Huh.
Um,
Oh.
I can remember one time, a buddy of mine was driving in a place called Copper Hills, and he was stopped, and he turned around and he saw like all these black robed people like behind his vehicle, like all of a sudden, and then he ran real fast. He did two movements. One was the other one was a fast pacing movement, and got in his got the heck out of there. When he by the time he
Yeah.
turned around,
Yeah.
everyone. So that's
I
I mean,
bet.
it could be black-eyed children. It could be just kids playing pranks. I mean, again, same thing. It could be paranormal. It's not
Mhm.
had been explained.
Well,
There's
because
no logical explanation.
No.
Copper Hills is one of our known places where it's very paranormal. It's got a lot of energy there. Some of it evil, some of it not. I have a friend of mine also that was in the same area. They were all out at a bonfire, just out there, I guess, having, drinks and having a good time around a bonfire. And so some of them went over to, I guess, another area where they were at to do whatever, maybe use the restroom. I don't know. They said that what they saw that night will forever keep them from going out there. They said they saw a creature with glowing red eyes, and it was looking at them from, the trees. And the next thing they know that this thing's coming after them, and they turn around, they start running. And as soon as they get back to the bonfire where everyone else is at, they're like, run, run, run. There's something chasing me. And I'm like, well, if something's chasing you, I'm running. So, but I wasn't there, but this is the story that I had heard.
Mm-hmm.
And they started running, and as fast as they would run, this thing would keep up with them. So they started running and getting in vehicles, jumping in the back of trucks and taking off. And this thing was just still on their tail, chasing them with the red eyes all the way out to the main road. And where it stopped was at the main road, like it was a boundary for them.
Oh.
See, I've been out there. I've never really seen anything or experienced anything. Keep in mind that when people go out that direction, there's a lot of drinking and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
everything involved. Could it be that? Absolutely, 100%. It could be that. Could it be paranormal? Absolutely, it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see it on
It almost
camera.
sounds like a Mothman.
Yeah, almost sounds like a Mothman or
Yeah.
there was another one. So we have a little legend here in Globe. It's called the Globe Gargoyles. Not too many people
Oh.
know, but it could be that. It could be that.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
And out in that area, there's a lot of Satan worshiping that goes on out there. Back in the old days, there was a hospital out there that was specifically for the miners and things like that. And they have a morgue that is still out there. And it goes down deep into these tunnels. And that's where a lot of people go out there to worship, Satan and things like that, or do rituals. And that's why I personally won't go out there. I mean, I'll go out there to investigate during the day, but at night, I don't think I would ever go out there because
Yeah.
it has a lot of evil presences that I feel I just don't want any part of.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
I don't think I'd want to get
'Cause
stuck
if-
in a tunnel accidentally either.
Oh, no.
No,
I'm not claustrophobic, but I do have my limits.
absolutely.
Yeah. Same here.
And not a lot of paranormal things scare me, but just the stories that I've heard coming out of there, I don't think I'd ever want to visit it. No.
Yeah. Even thinking of the natural things you might run into, like snakes and stuff
Oh yeah, yeah.
in the
Yeah.
dark. I mean,
Yes.
no thank you.
Especially down in those tunnels, you know.
We have
Yeah.
badgers. You imagine running into one of those
Oh,
at
yeah,
night?
they
Oh,
can be
no.
mean.
Silly stepping on one. Yeah,
Oh,
you got a little bit more to worry about than some, ghostly ledge. Now you got something real that'll
Yeah.
your tires out from under you. In there,
yeah.
done.
I'm not worried about
Yeah, no.
I'm worried about them shredding my leg off or something.
Oh, no.
Right?
They're
Because they
mean.
would. Oh yeah, they're
They are
vicious.
mean.
They look cute, but no.
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do look cute, but you go to step that story that happened to us when we were kids. My buddy and me were out camping up in the Pinal Mountains, and he found this whole nest of badgers, and he thought, "Hey,
Oh.
wouldn't it be cool to just mess with them a little bit? Because us Arizonans wonder about stuff like that." And he's like, "Well, I don't know, man. I've seen this on movies. It doesn't go too well." So he goes over there and he starts like poking at him with a stick and everything. And I'm
Yes.
like, and it immediately takes a stick out of the hand, just shreds the stick. And after it gets done taking his anger out on the stick, it starts chasing my buddy around. First thing we do is we get up on the truck and thought he's not going to get us. And he was a clever little guy. He figured, well, if I can shred the tires, this vehicle will eventually come down and then you're mine. That's exactly what he did. He went down and shredded all 4
Oh,
tires.
my God.
Oh man.
Hit them all up, and so we're like, okay, now we got to figure out how to get out of this
Oh,
mess.
no.
And they'll
Oh
sit there and wait
geez.
for you
Oh yeah,
too.
they'll wait for you too.
Really?
Yeah, they'll sit and wait. They have if they're angry, they have a lot of patience and they will sit and wait for you to come down.
Yeah, so been there, done that.
Wow.
No,
Yes,
thank
wouldn't
you.
even be right to say don't. It had already happened.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your friend found out it was
Uh,
you could poke a badger.
mm.
But yeah,
I've heard things about the Cotamundis too.
the Arizona monkeys. That's what we call them. Arizona
Uh-huh.
monkeys, and they're freaky little buggers. Let me tell you. We had a nest of them out where I used to work. We worked out in this place called the SXEW. It stands for Solvent Extraction Electrowinning. It's a mouthful. It's scientific. It's copper mining stuff. And we had they are freaky looking. I'm not gonna lie. They are the most hideous looking things you could ever think of. So we had this room that we had to go into once a day, once a night, and we had to dump, big bags of salt into the water to make it soft. Well, just right up above there, you can look at one of the panels, and one of the panels is missing. And we're like, okay, why is that missing? Because Mama Cudamunde has a nest in there, has little babies in there. You just see these little claws come out, and then you just see these little beady eyes just staring at you, and freakiest thing in the world. I tell you, the first time I ever saw that, what the heck is that? The boss goes down there,
Oh, my God.
just Cudamundes, and I'm like, I've been here my whole life. I never heard no Cudamunde. I thought it was just him full of pain, and no, it was a Cudamunde. I looked, and sure enough, they got these big old huge, eyes, and they got these claws. Looks kind of like the crate from Creep Show, if you guys ever watched that.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Looks very similar to that. from a
Yikes.
Oh man, but
I
yeah,
don't think I've ever seen one,
they're
like
neat though. They're neat,
but that would be
Mhm.
very, very creepy.
and they're harmless. They'll hiss at you.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's what caught my
That's
attention.
probably
It was like, I was like,
Oh.
I thought it was a rattlesnake.
Oh,
'Cause we have those out there too.
Which thing is it?
Yeah.
It's like, this one's gonna bite me here. It's hissing. They're around here somewhere. And turns
Yeah.
out it was a coot hissing at me because I was too close to its nest, and I'm like, oh man, sorry. Yeah, we got all kinds of
Wow.
interesting little animals here.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those around, but I know that they're here. I mean, other than probably did they have them? They might have had them at the Desert Museum. But
Yeah, they'll have them there.
Yeah.
Reed Park
But
Zoo
I
is
mean,
where
they
I
look,
first.
yeah, they're neat
Yeah,
looking.
they are. They are. They're. I call them little Arizona monkeys because they're like look like a monkey. They look like a
Mhm.
monkey but have the face of a cat. Oh,
It's weird.
they say God don't find stuff funny. I think he had a sense of humor. He made one of them
Yeah,
things.
Well, he made the
definitely.
platypus,
He made the
so
platypus, which is poisonous, by the way.
What?
The platypus,
I did
venomous.
not.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
yep, venomous. Part of their defense mechanism.
interesting.
That's funny. Um,
Let's see.
yeah. Any? Do you have any events coming up?
Um, we're trying to reach 100 subscribers for our TikTok so we can go to the Hotel San Carlos in
We want to do
downtown
an
Phoenix.
Okay.
investigation.
We want to do an investigation down there. The rooms are pretty affordable, and we just think that would be a really cool treat for all
Yeah,
subscribers, and we'll probably be going live on Facebook too for that one.
we've heard that it's
Yeah.
super haunted. Done some research on it. We would love to do an investigation there for everyone.
But as far as
Yes,
you,
I was.
yeah,
I just read about that place.
oh nice. I think I've done 2 videos and a blog on it. But yeah, that's as far as that's for future events. That's going to be our first out of town major investigation that we're going to do. Other than that, we're going to be putting out some videos on the history of Halloween because we have. I don't I don't want to offend any listeners or anything like that, but we have people just against Halloween in general.
Mm-hmm.
And Halloween should not be celebrated because it's just a bad holiday. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
okay, well, if you're technical, there better not be a Christmas tree in your house during Christmas time because
Yeah, exactly.
that's pagan too, And wait, by the
Yep,
way,
it is.
why do we celebrate Christmas in December? Oh, I know, because Constantine decided to try to make a Christian holiday in with the pagan holidays of the winter solstice, so the Christians
Ah.
and the pagans can get together.
Yep.
Oh, why would we do that? Oh, okay. That just makes everybody quiet, It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Besides that, do we have any other events coming up?
That's the only one that we got coming up. Everything's still up in the air. Word's starting to get around. We're starting to get reached out to people who want us to investigate.
Yeah, we just had someone from our town asking us to if we did this, for private or, do we do this for businesses? And I said, yes, we do, as a matter of fact. And she was telling us some of the things that go on in her warehouse. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. That would be definitely worth going in and investigating, just to give them some closure, even, if just for that.
Yeah.
And what a coincidence. It is also in downtown Globe. Wow.
It's like
Did
our
not
town.
see that one coming.
It's like a vortex for spiritual activity. For some reason, there's a little boy who goes to different areas of town when we're investigating, and he's followed us around town because we've been at our old train depot. We have a train depot that's been here, since 1918?
1916. Yeah.
1916. It's followed us to the jail, which is 1910. Over to, I think,
The old bakery.
the bakery that was been there since 1918. When in the bakery, one of the bakers perished in his humongous mixing machine. There's a story that he was pushed, but a lot of people think that he fell in. Some say pushed. We're not completely sure. We've done an investigation there, but the little boy, his name is Bert. He follows us and other paranormal investigators around to different areas of town that we investigate. buildings, different areas. I don't know if there's any other ones that follow us, but I know that Bert does. He's a little boy that perished on the railroad tracks that was by the train depot. He was outside playing
Aw.
and he fell, and the train, unfortunately, ran him over. So he does follow us around and very friendly. So we don't get any bad feelings from him at all.
Why do you guys think that some spirits hang around still?
I think a lot of it is it's familiar to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it is they want closure themselves. I think.
And attached to the area.
Yeah, it's some kind of a personal attachment to the area. Why was he playing by the railroad tracks? Did his father work there at the railroad? Did his mother work there at the railroad? Like why why is he here? So I honestly I'm still kind of up in the air. I have a few theories. It could be because
they're waiting for someone.
They're waiting for someone. It could be because they have just this huge attachment for the area for whatever reason. And I really think that spirits just have a liking to people. And they're like, "Oh yeah, you're cool. We can come hang out with you."
Yeah, definitely.
Like
they know you're not there to harm them or disrespect them. We always let them know that whenever we're on an investigation.
Yeah, we never taught any of the spirits, and we always protect the area that we're from because they were before us. They're going to be here long after us, obviously.
Yeah, we just want to respect and tell their story. No disrespect, not there to harm or anything like that. Let them know our machinery will not hurt them. And after they get comfortable with the idea, then they're more likely to come through and communicate.
I heard your kitty, Jody.
Oh God, you did. Sorry.
I heard something.
Sounded like a cat. Or it sounded like a cat.
Einstein.
It is definitely a good thing I had headphones on because I have one of our dogs just anything cat shape, cat cartoon, cat noise. Yeah.
Yeah. How funny.
They just like to bark.
Wants my attention.
Wow. Yeah, cats are funny.
Where can people find you on TikTok? You mentioned TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a TikTok channel called Chilling Encounters.
Okay.
And you can find us there. You can type in, to get to our YouTube channel, you can type in AZ Ghost Channel.
The
Arizona
Ghost Channel.
The Arizona Ghost Channel. Our website's not up and running. We don't get a whole lot of traction for our website, but we get a lot more traction to our YouTube and to our TikTok. So we kind of felt like maybe this is the direction we want to go to, because our website wasn't, what I get traffic-wise in a website, I'd get in 2 months, I would get in a single releasing a video on YouTube. So I have it there just in case something ever goes haywire with YouTube. I can actually embed my videos on my website if I need to. So it's kind of a backup plan.
But we're found under Chilling Encounters on TikTok.
Okay. I'm on there a lot, so I'm gonna find you.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't have you on TikTok.
We go live every night and do a live as far with Chilling Encounters, James and I. Sometimes we'll have our daughter on there and she'll do her tarot readings.
Oh, good.
We are a firm believer of tarot readings. We are a firm believer of dowsing rods, and we are a firm believer of justice methods.
Yes, absolutely.
We don't mess with the Ouija board.
No.
When we don't mess with the pendulum, that's personal for me.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to do, that's totally cool. That's what they want to do. We have some dear friends of ours that like to play with the Ouija board, and I'm like,
we let them know where we stand on that, and they respect
it. So yeah, and we don't go sit there and bashing them for using it.
No, they do what they feel.
To each his own. Everybody,
absolutely.
Everybody has their own tools to paranormal investigate that are more comfortable for them. Mine is believe it or not, I'm probably a dude in history that does tarot cards. I see as women, and I'm like, well, guys can do it too.
Yes,
They
yes,
like,
they can.
I thought so. All right, making sure I wasn't turning feminine there for a minute. I mean, I live with women, but it doesn't mean I have to have a uterus.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, definitely. We let everyone know where we stand with the Ouija boards and the pendulums. Those are a no go. But the rest of the equipment that we use is we're pretty firm believers with it.
Yeah, and
We
most
have a lot of paranormal things that happen with it that are very productive and fortunate that we can get that
Mhm.
care of or answered for people.
yeah, and most people, if not all people are like, hey, investigate. You're not going to bring a Ouija board, are you? I was like, no. To me, that's, and again, this is my opinion. To me, bringing a Ouija board is not really investigating. Investigating is literally sitting in a room, quiet, watching and hearing things go off. To me, that
Mhm.
literally like
Definitely.
it's like fishing. You don't.
If you have too much chatter or too much things going on around, you're not going to get as thorough of an investigation as when you're quiet and just it's a lot of sitting there looking at lights and machines
But it's a lot of sitting there doing
Yeah.
nothing
and trying to get them
Yeah.
to communicate
just to get absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
because they will choose whether they want to communicate with you or
Yeah.
not.
We've gone to houses, place was just hopping with me,
Hmm.
and then we've gone to houses where nothing. And it's the name of the game. And I explained that to everybody who was on the ghost tour last night. I was like, okay, guys, now last night this place was hopping. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be hopping tonight. And so they're sitting around, and the only machine that we were able to make go off was our K2 meters. And that was literally it. So everybody was kind of just, gathered around going, is this what ghost hunting is? And I'm like, yep, this is ghost hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
what
Not always constant excitement.
Yeah, and the night before our spirit box and our K2 meter were just going absolutely
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And half the time you don't even find stuff until after you go home and you start reviewing footage and you're like, whoa, cool.
You're like, I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that
Yeah,
before.
I mean,
Awesome.
that's
Hey.
how we found the pictures of whatever it was in our backyard years ago, because we were actually testing out a new camera. And we're like, well, I wonder how it does taking pictures outside at night. And my husband just went around taking pictures and
That's a
caught
good way.
something. and
Interesting.
and he put it up on the TV to look at the pictures. And we were like going through, so we have these giant pictures, and you can see a lot more.
Wow.
Wow.
That happened to Vinny too.
Yeah, that did
We
happen.
at the county jail.
Yep.
Just ran pictures, and you could clearly see one of the investigators
Mhm.
on one end of the jail cell. And then if you look, something will actually bob its head
In and out.
and then bob its head out. And
Ooh.
as soon as you stop, you're like, oh, okay, that's somebody that's playing a joke. It could be. It could be. It could very well have been somebody snuck into the county jail while everybody was
Mhm.
investigating, and then just it because that does happen. Things like
Yeah.
that can. But if you look at the picture, the investigator, and then they're standing like near to the microphone. The investigator has, where you could see the light on her face
Coming through the window.
coming through the window. The entity had no light,
No light whatsoever. See it bob its head.
but you could see it bobbing its head in and out. So again,
Wow.
could it be just somebody who just happened to, wander in and go, oh crap, there's somebody here, I got to get out of here, and then the light not
Yeah.
catch the thing? Absolutely. It's to us, we have no explanation. Therefore, it's got to be paranormal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
It is one of the most investigated areas and it has a lot of history behind it. So It's very well. A lot of paranormal teams come up to investigate it. The Elks Lodge and the train depot. They're very, very
Oh,
big hot spots.
well, it's come to the end of our time, but I really appreciate you guys coming on, and we'll have to do this again
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
thank you.
if you're game.
Yeah, we're all up for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Done a podcast and I don't know how long, so it's kind of nice to be a guest once in a while.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I was trying to like
Yeah.
freak out. I was like, okay, I got to make sure everything's this. I'm like, wait a minute, we're guests. We're
We're
not the host.
guests.
Yes.
This has never happened.
It's really, really it's an honor for us to be here today. We're glad that you had us on.
Well,
And
thank
then-
you.
Yeah, we're
Nice
glad to
when,
have you.
yeah, and then we said, oh, we're just going to do the audio. We're going to be on camera, but do the audio. And I'm like,
Yep.
oh, cool. I don't have to take down my green screen. I don't have to. Oh,
No.
awesome. Like, sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
This has been a great podcast. You guys have a great podcast going on here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are
Okay,
awesome.
well, all to Miss Elisa.
Oh,
Oh. Hopefully we have answered all of your questions, if you guys
yeah, I think for
Yeah.
now, I'm sure we'll come up with more
Yeah.
for another time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're 100% flexible. This is what we do full time.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And just let us know.
Yeah.
Yes. And
So,
again, Joe, do you wanna give the email if people have
Yeah.
stories?
If anyone has any experiences or anything that's happened to them paranormally, you can email the spooky sisters. Sorry, let me start over. The spooky sisters 666 at gmail.com. And you can be in our show or we'll just read the stories on the air. Either one.
Yeah. And like and subscribe.
Yes. Like and subscribe to us.
Absolutely. Give them a follow.